interview. Press White House Secretary Sarah Sanders.
Thank you.
And her dad, former Governor Mike Huckabee. Now, Mike, give him a hand. We're going to talk to you about your show, but we want to talk to Sarah first. So hang tight.
Ladies first.
Okay. But you know, I don't want to have to come over there now. So you're not only, you're only the third woman to serve as the White House press secretary, and you're also the first mom, the first mother to hold the job. So when you get those calls, he's tweeting, and it's 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
How do you do everything with the kids and trying to do your job? And
Well, I'm already up. As a parent, you're up, 24/7 a day. So it's an easy
how old are
transition.
your children, I should ask?
5, almost 4, and 2. So,
Yes.
You are.
They're itty bitty.
yeah, little babies.
Right.
So they perfectly have prepared me to deal with the White House press corps. I'm used to answering this. I get to answer the same.
president.
I get to answer
Come
the
on now.
same
Come on
question
now.
all day long, and I've gotten pretty good at saying no. So I think my kids have been a perfect foundation.
You know what you say
for
all
my
the
job.
time? You always say, "I'll get back to you." But what is that about? Why do you keep saying, "I'll get back to you"?
Well, I mean, and a lot of times I get back to the individual reporter. It may not be on camera, but I have reporters in and out of my office all throughout the day. Also, as you know, most of us live with a device in our hand, and so I'm in contact with them 24 hours, 7 days a week, constantly responding to different questions. And so a lot of that may not be done in the briefing room, but it's done at another time throughout the day.
I have to say, Sarah, that I'm surprised you. Who approved you coming here? The mooch? I mean, is that why he was fired? I'm shocked that you're here, both of you, even though you were my favorite Republican.
Was.
Back in the day.
She actually whispered to me before we started that I'm now her favorite Republican.
Yeah, right.
So I think
It works. It's still in the family. But Sarah, you ran your father's presidential campaign last year. Did he give you any advice when you got this job offer?
it's the same advice that he's given me in any job I've ever had, and that's to always be honest and always be myself. And if you kind of live by those 2 things, you really don't have to worry about too much else. I try to go into every day with that in mind and never veer from that. And so far, I think, served me pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me talk to you, Mike, because, yes, you were my favorite Republican. And so that's why, Trump, the things that he says about women are just horrendous. And we all know that, so let's not pretend that he hasn't said some horrifying things about women. Okay? We know that. Just nod. You don't have to say anything, just nod, because you know it's true.
Blink.
Having said that, how can you let your daughter defend him?
Well, he's also empowered a lot of women. I mean, he's given my daughter an incredible opportunity.
Anecdotal.
Look at the women that he has hired, not only in the White House, but also the women that he's hired in the private sector. First ever to give a woman the opportunity to be a contractor on a huge Manhattan job. I mean, when people say, oh, he's this, but look at his history. If people say, oh, he's a racist, well, he's been on this show many times.
Yes,
Did you ever
and
call
I've said it to him to his face.
Well, but Whoopi, he's not a racist.
You're saying he does have a history, Governor, of with his father precluding people of color from living in his buildings. I mean, it's a well-documented history of racism. How can you sit here and say he's not a racist?
I know, too, that he is the guy that opened up Mar-a-Lago to Jewish people when they have been shut out.
He didn't want black people there?
No. He has also hired African Americans to work in his organization to empower them in many ways. Look, is Donald Trump a perfect man? No, but I don't know who we could afford to put in that job. But I also do feel like that I know him well enough. And if I didn't have some confidence in his integrity, I would never encourage my daughter.
But he
to work
says
for
nicer
him.
things about neo-Nazis than he does about President Obama.
That's not true.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is true.
That's cherry-picking statements and making them into something they're not. You often hear the line that personnel is policy. You pointed out yourself that I'm the first working mother to ever hold this job, to be empowered to be the spokesperson for the United States of America through the president. That is a big deal. That is a huge step forward. And instead of liberals celebrating it, they've attacked me at every step, and that's a problem
Can we
in
do
itself.
something? There are liberals at the table, so nobody's attacking. So
I'm not saying.
rid of
Can I
that.
ask you though,
But-
just as a, because not as a politician, not as someone who's in the political sphere, I agree with you that I think Donald Trump has in business empowered a lot of women to succeed. I'm glad he gave you this job. I think you're great at this job. But personally, as a person, as a woman, as just a person out there, have you struggled with some of the stuff that he has said, and has that made it harder for you to defend? Maybe his policy is okay, but the person, the man behind the presidency, is it hard for you sometimes?
I've spent a lot of time with the president. I've never felt anything but respected and empowered to do exactly what I'm there to do every day, and that is my job. And, I think he's an equal opportunity president. He hits men just as hard. Women want equal opportunity, and this president certainly gives it to them. One, by empowering them to take on senior level positions, not just in the White House, but as a businessman, he did that. You see that by the time, and he doesn't just put milquetoast women around him. He puts strong, very outspoken women in very powerful positions. And the first time in history, we also have a female communications director. You've never had a female press secretary and a female communications director ever in the history of the White House, and we do in this one. And so I think that there are some things that he's really done to empower women, to push that agenda forward. And I think that's something that we should look at and
I don't
recognize.
understand how the evangelicals can support him. You're a religious person. Some of the things that have come out of his mouth are so against the Bible and so unreligious of him. How can you support someone like that?
Well, I think it's not that difficult because, well, nobody voted for him to be their Sunday school teacher. Okay?
but
And I think the point is,
he
he
sets
is a
the
defender
tone.
of religious liberty, which means he doesn't have to embrace everything that I personally embrace in order to believe that people of faith should be respected and that they should not be relegated to, a portion of the
With all due
culture.
respect, though, let me just say, character does matter, and many of us argued that when it came to Bill Clinton,
Sure.
his character mattered, and that doesn't mean anything different for Donald Trump. The
Yeah,
character
that's
behind
right.
the
Good
presidency
point.
does matter.
But I do think that there is a character there that does come out in his defense of religious liberty, in his embrace of people who are evangelicals. Look, I'm very pro-life. You guys all know that. We've talked about that on this show before. For me, that is an important issue because it says that the most important way you look at another human being is with respect for their intrinsic worth and value. And I believe Donald Trump does, in fact, look at people with intrinsic worth and value. I really do.
Oh, man.
There we are. We'll be right back. We are back with Sarah Sanders and Mike Huckabee. We're coming to you, Mike, but hold up.
No, the president has said he's at war with the fake news media. We can agree that this hostile dynamic doesn't serve the American people. We've heard what he and the administration feel the media should be doing or what they're doing wrong, but what do you think is on the responsibility of the administration and people like yourself to help on your end to mend these fences?
Yeah, I think going back, you look at every administration, you're always going to have a little bit of friction between the press corps and the White House. We've certainly seen that escalate in this administration. I think that there is certainly responsibility on both sides. We have to be forthcoming. We have to be honest. That's our obligation to the American people. But it's also journalists' obligation to present facts, not opinions. It's the American people's ability to get to take those facts and decide where they want to come down on an issue. To me, a good news story is if all the facts are presented and you don't know which side the author of that story is on. Right. And I think we need to get back to a little bit less editorial comments from the media and a little bit more fact delivering to the American people.
But my clarification here is that when he refers to the media, that's a massive group of people. Technically, we're media, there are journalists. I feel that by specifying when there's something wrong, I think that is a responsibility of the administration, because the problem is you have an American people that are now distrusting, because this has been a consistent talking point of his and the administration's. It's dangerous because the media is here for a purpose. It has a very important historical role. And when people that don't know the difference in these mediums are sitting out there going, oh, medium, fake news, you are kind of taking away a check and balance of society.
It's also very dangerous for the media not to live up to the responsibility that they have, and that is to actually present factual information.
But
I mean, a lot of times I sit in a room.
When one person does it, I think you need to say, we read this article, and that is problematic, because there are like thousands of us, and we can only do our part individually. So